People talk about you like they know all about you. When you get down, they doubt you. And when you dip it on the scene, yeah, they talking about it. Cause they can't tip on the scene. What you talk about it, talking about it. When you get elevated, they love it or they hate it. You dance up on them haters, keep getting funky on the scene while they jumping around you. They trying to take all of your dreams, but you can't allow it. Cause baby, whether you're high or low, or whether you're high or low, you got to tip on the tightrope.
It's time to go home. To a place we once knew. A country of kindness and compassion, empathy and community, tolerance and generosity, integrity and hope. It's time to stand together in a place called America. The place we all call home. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris know the way. Let's go together. It's the only way we can go forward and build back better.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Hello, I'm Yo-Yo Ma. I'm so happy to join you for the Asian American Pacific Islander bus tour, and I am here to implore you to vote. And please go to iwillvote.com, because your vote, this is perhaps the most important time in all our lives, that your voices must be heard loud and clear. The Asian American and Pacific Islander vote really counts. Please, please vote, iwillvote.com. Thank you so much. Do your duty, and things will get better. We will build back stronger.
Thank you for joining this Biden-Harris campaign event, AAPI's Assembled Bus Tour Stop in Michigan. Please welcome Anu Kosaraju.
Good evening, everyone. It is my distinct honor and privilege to speak on behalf of the Michigan AAPI community, which makes up almost 4% of the Michigan electorate. In a state that was lost in 2016 by less than 11,000 votes, we can be the margin of victory, electing Democrats up and down the ballot. These candidates embody the best of America, and the Biden-Harris ticket is particularly aligned perfectly to the AAPI community. As we say in our Asian cultures, holistic ticket is what we're looking at when we look at the Biden-Harris ticket. Why? Because the Biden-Harris ticket can manage the pandemic, rebuild the economy faster, protect healthcare, keep our community safer from hate crimes, and unite our country. The Biden economic plan is particularly been acknowledged by Moody's, Wharton, and Goldman Sachs as the better plan that will rebuild our economy faster and stronger. And there will be no new taxes for those making less than $400,000 a year and couples making less than $510,000. Saying this is the most important election of our lifetime feels now like an understatement. We must vote responsibly, learn the facts, and share information to dispel the misinformation out there. The stakes have never been higher. COVID-19 has hit AAPI communities very hard. Asian American unemployment has soared to the second highest of ethnic groups. We desperately need a plan to control the pandemic and get the AAPI community back to work. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the leaders to right the ship and build our community back better. Unlike the other candidates and campaigns, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have a plan for the Indian American community and the AAPI community. Each of these plans is also holistic, as it covers comprehensively many facets of the challenges we uniquely face as AAPIs, from reducing language barriers for accessing healthcare and economic opportunities, as well as our voting rights. There is no room for hate in a Biden-Harris administration. By providing resources and working with local elected officials, the Biden-Harris administration will ensure that bullying in the AAPI community will be combated. The Department of Justice will prioritize protecting hate crimes, particularly in places of worship. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris recognize that AAPIs are not a monolith. I'm an immigrant from India, and many of you are from countries across Asia. Joe Biden will ensure that his administration recognizes the myriad of challenges we face as a diverse AAPI community. We immigrated to this country for a better life and opportunities. And while our generation was fortunate and blessed to realize our version of the American dream, our children deserve the same. It is this the number one reason I got engaged as a volunteer. Having immigrated from one of the largest democracy in the world, I am afraid for the future of democracy in this great country that I am so blessed to call home. I helped organize a Michigan Biden rally during the primary. I joined Women for Biden, served as an advisor to South Asians for Biden, and co-founded a group, Indian Americans for Biden-Harris, which is now over 5,500 members and the Facebook group. I believe in Joe Biden's vision to restore the soul of America, and that is why I am in this fight with all of you on this call. These holistic plans for our community are just plans until we vote and make it a reality by electing the Biden-Harris ticket. Our voices are trusted in our communities. The more we volunteer from now through election day, the more we can increase our AAPI turnout. It is your vote, but our collective future that is on the ballot this November. As Senator Kamala Harris says, when our grandchildren ask what we did when the stakes were so high, don't just tell them how we felt. Let us tell them what we did. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my opening remarks. It is now my incredible pleasure and honor to introduce to you three distinguished guests that will be joining us this evening. The first one I would like to introduce Honorable Congresswoman Grace Meng, who is finishing up her third term in Congress representing Queens, New York. She was born and raised in Queens as the daughter of immigrants and has never forgotten where she came from or who she fights for. As a child growing up in the most diverse county in America, Grace quickly came to believe that every person deserves a seat at the table. Whether young or old, rich or poor, she believes every voice deserves to be heard. That conviction promoted Grace to begin her professional career as a public interest lawyer before serving 2 terms in the New York State Assembly. Our next guest is Maia Shibutani, who is a US Olympic medalist and author. She and her brother Alec Shibutani won 2 bronze medals at the 2018 Olympics. In addition, she's a 3-time world medalist and 2-time US national champion. In 2018, the siblings became the first ice dancers who are both of Asian descent and 2 medals at the Olympics. They are the second sibling duo to ever share an ice dancing Olympic medal and the first from the United States. Maia is a graduate of Ann Arbor Huron High School here in Michigan. And our final guest on this panel is Alec Shibutani. He's a US Olympic medalist and author. He partnered with his sister Maia to win 2 bronze medals at the 2018 Olympics. He's also a 3-time world medalist and 2-time US national champion. He and his sister are 2-time members of the US Olympic team, participated in 2014 and 2018. He's from Ann Arbor, Michigan as well, and went to Ann Arbor Huron High School. Now I would like to open up the discussion with the first question to Honorable Congresswoman Meng. Why is this election so important to you, Congresswoman Meng?
Well, first, let me just say hello to everyone and thank you to our friends in Michigan for having me here today on this Biden bus stop tour. And I want to thank you, Anu, and groups like South Asians of Michigan, Organizing for Serious Action, and State Rep Koopa for being here today and for your work. I'm especially honored to see once again my friend and our superstar State Senator Stephanie Chang, who, you know, we are obviously not from the same state, but I really admire her work and her passion for her district, and just empowering people. Always excited. Well, not always. This is my first time. I'm just kind of fangirling here, being on the same screen as Maya and Alex. We watched you across the global stage, and am so proud of you, and thank you for your efforts and for being such role models to our next generation. You know, why is this important? Gosh, you know, since Trump was elected, he is a president and he is part of an administration that tears our communities apart week by week, month by month, breaking up our families, breaking our hearts. Our community deserves so much better. Whether it was starting from the Muslim ban to separating kids from their parents at the border, to performing hysterectomies on women at the border, many of whom didn't even know what happened afterwards, to a president who can't even condemn white supremacy on the national stage, to most recently the horror show that we've witnessed and how he has mishandled the coronavirus pandemic, starting from empowering people to be racist and discriminatory towards our AAPI community across the country, to over 200,000 Americans dead. This election is important to me, not just because of restoring integrity and democracy to the White House, but literally about saving lives. Our country deserves better. And so I wanted to be here today to say thank you to each and every one of you. I've spent some time in Michigan. I went to college there, mainly in Wayne County and Washtenaw County. I've spent many years, still go back many times. So thank you all for your efforts. We can do this.
Thank you, Congresswoman Meng. Maya, would you like to chime in on her comments and why this election is important to you?
Alex and I are so happy to be here with everyone today. This is a very important election. Every election is important, but this one feels especially crucial. And our country is facing so many different challenges, and we want to have leaders that are compassionate, capable, and ready to help us out over the next 4 years, because it's not just the next 4 years. The repercussions of what happens over the next 4 years will affect the next generation.
Thank you so much. What about you, Alex? Would you tell us why this election is important to you?
Gosh, guys, you're leaving me scraps. But just very honored to be here with everyone on this call. So honored to be participating with Congresswoman Meng and Senator Chang. And it's always an honor to be part of Team Maya. But, you know, obviously it's been stated. So I will be redundant in saying that as all elections are important, this one is especially crucial. Perhaps the most important of our lifetimes. And you know, the outcome of this election will impact our loved ones and our community for years to come. And as Maya mentioned, there are so many issues that are at stake. We have, of course, the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the climate emergency, criminal justice reform, immigration, healthcare, education, the list goes on. And I just feel very strongly that Joe and Kamala are and other Democratic candidates are the ones for the job, and they can't do it alone, and they need us to do our part to make sure that they get elected so that they can get to work for us.
Thank you very much, Alex. We know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can unite the country and build a broad winning coalition of voters. Congresswoman Meng, can you talk to us about how critical it will be to turn out AAPI voters in Michigan this November?
Sure. You all know, I don't have to tell you that Michigan is a top battleground state, and you all have the experience, and we're thankful for it, for the coalitions that you've started, built, and expanded. If you just take a look at the number of eligible AAPI voters, over 170,000 last I checked. We only lost by 10,000 in 2016. We can do this. Our community right here can be that margin of victory. And so that's why I'm thankful to the Biden-Harris team for putting together this bus tour. We're in battleground states across the country, and Michigan was a very important stop for us. We want to make sure we're doing everything we can within each coalition, starting from our homes, our communities, our networks, to get out that vote. Guys, we only lost by 10,000 last time. We can do this. Our community can help make it happen.
Alex, this time you should go next to
Oh, yes.
tell us
Okay,
why
great.
it would be important to get the AAPI votes in Michigan.
Sure. Congresswoman Meng stated it so clearly and distinctly, but the AAPI community is powerful. It is not an ignorable demographic. As she stated, we have the numbers to make the difference and be the difference in this election, not just on the state side, but in the national presidential election. And I think we have to use that power. I feel like Joe and Kamala are committed to ensuring that every member of the AAPI community is treated fairly and respectfully, that no hate policy is incredibly impactful. And not something that should be taken for granted, especially with the things that we've seen happen to the community throughout this pandemic.
Thank you, Alex. I will remember that line, zero tolerance for hate. That's a wonderfully we put it. Thank you. What about you, Maya? Would you like to chime in on that?
Alex, it's like we're playing tennis. You say all the good things, it'll be whoever goes first. I feel like it's just very important that we make, your vote is your voice. And so it's really important that the leaders that we have reflect what we want to see happen to this country. And as a community, I think that we've all been concerned over the past few months and beyond that. So now's the time to really turn out, make sure that you have your voting plan, make sure that your family or whoever else is able to vote does, because this is crucial and very important.
Thank you, Maya. That is very important to note that it's not just about us voting, but making sure our networks vote as well. Now I'd like to move on to a slightly lighter tone, maybe. Do you have a standout memory from the last several months spent largely at home, Congresswoman Meng?
Oh, gosh. Well, I travel a lot, like many people here, for my job. I'm in Washington, D.C. a lot, especially during the week. And because of the quarantine, I've been home with my family a lot. I've got 2 middle school boys, so it takes up a lot of my energy. But in terms of a positive standout memory, I'm really thankful that we have time together and that we have so far been safe.
Excellent. What about you, Maya?
A similar answer. This has been a very different and challenging period of time, but I'm so grateful that I've been able to spend time with Alex and my parents, our parents. It's been unique because I'm in my mid-20s, but I'm back with my parents, but I'm enjoying it and really valuing it.
Wonderful. Well, how about you, Alex? You're seeing a lot of your sister and enjoying that time spent together as siblings again?
Actually, not as much as we're accustomed to. So I actually miss my sister because we're used to spending almost every hour of the day together with our work and our skating. And we're used to traveling a lot, like Congresswoman Meng mentioned. And so I am getting a little bit of family time, but not as much as I would like. But I guess one of the standout moments for me was we just released our first middle grade book. And so it's been exciting because you hear about Congresswoman Meng and her 2 sons at home to be able to share a fun story and maybe provide an escape for both kids at home during this time and give a break to parents. so they can maybe, get some R&R here and there. But that's been really fun, and really seeing communities around the country and the world come together to raise awareness for important causes and show up to support each other and help each other during what is undoubtedly very challenging times for a lot of people.
Thank you, Alex. And I see the same theme echoing among all your answers about how important family is. And that's one of the nicest things that I've heard both about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that family is first for both of them. And that's why I keep going back to my term, the holistic ticket, because they both together actually reflect very much the same values that we're speaking about right now. And for folks that didn't already know, Congresswoman Meng is a proud University of Michigan alum. What was your favorite part about living in Ann Arbor and being a Wolverine, Congresswoman Meng?
I like this question. You know, coming to Michigan from a big city like New York was really a different experience. It really took me out of my comfort zone. And in the ages that I was there, I guess what, 17, 18, 19, 20, I felt like I really grew. I felt like I learned a lot about myself, but also about the world around me. So it was the first time in Ann Arbor where I got involved with voter registration. I just volunteered locally. I'd never done it before, but just helped, local groups on campus register students. And the second thing I would say is because I was really out of my comfort zone, I was really kind of forced to appreciate and better understand my culture and my family's history and what it really meant to be a daughter of immigrants. And so I think that during those years on campus, I really treasure them.
So Go Blue really means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Great. Maya and Alex, having spent your formative years of your life here in Ann Arbor, how has the AAPI community here shaped your lives and perspectives?
Oh, Maya, do you want to go?
I wasn't sure. Since we're not in the same place, I can cut you off.
Right.
You can go ahead.
Okay, fine. I'll take this. So we, in the 10 plus years that we've spent in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, I graduated from Huron High School. Maya did as well. We both spent time at the University of Michigan while we were training in preparation for the Olympics. We've always received such tremendous support from the community, but also the AAPI community, our family and friends, and our classmates. And so I think having represented the United States and the AAPI community on a global stage, we really understand the value of representation. First of all, from the standpoint of, coming up in a sport in a discipline of figure skating, where there wasn't a lot of Asian or Asian American representation, we felt that void ourselves, and we chose to fill it by pursuing our goals and accomplishing them. But I think that we've really been very fortunate to have amazing interactions and conversations with people who have expressed their gratitude to us and pride in how we represented them at the Olympic Games and at other international competitions. And for me, I think it's really important that I and we all elect leaders who will make us proud too. And that's really what this is all about.
Excellent. Maya, would you like to chime in?
Like Alex said, we're so proud to have represented Team USA on the global stage, and we've really felt support from throughout the country. And so when it comes to having leaders that represent all of us, I think that Joe and Kamala are really the people who can do it and make us proud and help us move into the future.
Wonderful. Congresswoman Meng, what is your plan to vote, and how are you going to get out the vote and to your family and friends as well?
Well, I have already gone to iwillvote.com to check my registration. So if you haven't, please visit iwillvote.com and make a plan. I will be doing early voting here in New York. It starts soon, not yet. So I'll be doing early voting, but I also want to ask everyone not just to make a plan for only yourself, but make sure that you are checking in on people in your circle too, family, friends, neighbors.
Excellent. Maya, what about yourself? What is your plan to vote, and how are you getting out the vote with your family and friends?
I am voting early by mail, and I have this. So it's just been really important that, as a family, we care about the issues, but then beyond that, using social media to spread the word about deadlines, making sure that people are aware of what's happening, and just doing our best to make sure that not only we are covered, but that other people know that it's their responsibility and their ability to have a say in what happens in this election.
Alex, what about you then?
Maya again. I mean, we can be the difference, and we will be the difference in this election. And so I believe the registration deadline for Michigan is the 19th. So that's coming up. And, on social media, like Maya mentioned. We will continue to tweet and Instagram and share and get the word out to as many people as we can. We need to make our voices heard. And so going to iwillvote.com, I believe you can also text VOTE to 30330 to get more information on the Biden campaign, their policy issues, as well as other volunteer opportunities that if you're really engaged and really interested in helping out, that those are available. And I guess I want to implore to any young people that are on this call, it's really time to back up all of the activism and take responsibility for the rest of our lives. And so, like Congresswoman Meng said, making sure that we're in touch and connected to the people in our families and in our friend groups to make sure that we're holding each other accountable during this really critical time.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. And thank you to all of our special guests this evening for joining us. We now have a short video from Senator Kamala Harris.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to the Asian American and Pacific Islander community for all the work you are doing. Joe and I cannot thank you enough for your longstanding leadership in the AAPI community, both in this election and beyond. When my mother arrived in the United States from India, she understood that the core of her new home in America was that we not only strive for success, but to leave our country better than we found it. That's the approach she instilled in me, and I know many of you are working toward that same end. I don't need to tell you what is on the line in this race. Donald Trump reminds us every day who he is and how much worse it can get with a second term in office. Joe and I are ready to serve you, the people. We will restore honest leadership and implement a plan to get this pandemic under control. Our economic plan is built around working people, small businesses, and those who have been hit the hardest. We work to expand access to quality and affordable health care. We know that we are a nation of immigrants and will work to reform our immigration system. And of course, we will work to root out the systemic racism that still permeates in our courtrooms, our prisons, and in policing. We will win this race. We will build back better, and we will unite our country again, but only together, only with your help. So please keep pouring your energy into this race because we know what's at stake in this election and we don't have a moment to waste. Thank you again for all you are doing. Let's keep up the pressure and let's bring this race home. Take care.
Next, I'd like to welcome State Representative Padma Cooper to our rally. Representative Cooper is serving her first term representing Michigan's 41st House District, which encompasses the cities of Troy and Clawson. She currently serves as the Assistant Minority Whip for the House Democrats. Since 2018, she has been a full-time activist to increase civic engagement. I'm sorry, I have the wrong page with me. Give me 1 second. So Padma has always been at the forefront of, I'm going to speak candidly, Padma, because I feel like I know you and I don't need to refer to my notes here. But Padma has been a longtime activist as both a parent as well as a Hindu American in the Troy and in the general Michigan area. She's now running for re-election. She has an extensive public service and community service record on her portfolio that she has worked so hard for, both as an immigrant, as a woman of color, and as a mother of 2 children. Padma, take it away.
Thank you so much, Anu. This is Padma Cooper, State Representative for Troy and Clawson. I represent the 41st District in Michigan. I'm the first Democrat to ever do so. So we need to do more of this. I always tell everyone the path to the White House is through our state house. We have a phenomenal governor who won in 2018, along with several of us who flipped seats in various Michigan districts. We now need to flip 4 more at minimum, so that we get the gavel and have the governors back. So it's really important to remember that while we're looking at the top of the ticket, we need to build a bench. We need to start at the local races and local issues. And that is where I have been for all of my time in Michigan. I live in the city that has the most immigrants of any city in Michigan. 30% of Troy is foreign born. And I have to say, Troy and Clawson represent the breadth and spectrum of our economic range of economics, because we have small business, we have Main Street, plus we have Big Beaver, which is like Wall Street. And so I have, through my time in office, I have made sure that I have brought people into the legislature, into the policy making, and made sure that we've engaged the Asian American community, because that is when they feel like voting. Because Seema Nanda said this to me. She said, immigrant communities, when one of their own is in the running, that is when they become more activated. So whoever is out there watching, go get involved in your local community, go get involved in the local races, and from the bottom of the ballot all the way to the top, let's create a blue tsunami in November here in Michigan. I am actually in the middle of a session day. We have had such a long, drawn out session because we don't hold the gavel in the legislature. I did not understand. I'm an engineer. I immigrated to this country more than 30 years ago as an engineer from India. I had actually been here growing up, but I really wanted to come back because I believed in America's democracy. I believed in public education, and I was an activist at the local level in the PTAs, coming to Lansing, making sure that we had no education funding cuts, or trying to, and working against the DeVos agenda. So please, please, every one of you reach out into your networks. Michigan.gov/vote is the best way to check whether your voting record, make sure you're registered to vote, that you get your absentee ballot. You can actually go on the day of the election and register and cast your ballot. So make sure you talk to 5 friends. Everybody has friends that they can talk to, and get involved in a campaign. Whether it's my campaign for re-election, electpadmakuppa.com, or the Biden-Harris campaign, the one campaign here in Michigan that will elect Democrats up and down the state. Thank you so much for having me on this bus tour, and I'm going to head back to session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Padma, for your comments. Really inspiring, and we look forward to supporting and re-electing you. Now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce State Senator Stephanie Chang, the first Asian American woman to be elected to the Michigan legislature. She worked as a community organizer in Detroit for nearly a decade before serving 2 terms in the Michigan House of Representatives. The senator also is co-founder and past president of Asian Pacific Islander American Vote Michigan, and she served as a mentor with the Detroit Asian Youth Project. In the State House, Senator Chang led the way on air quality protection, education, criminal justice reforms, improving economic opportunities, and affordable, safe drinking water. Chang earned her bachelor's degree in psychology and master's degrees in public policy and social work from the University of Michigan. She lives in Detroit with her husband, Sean Gray, and 2 young daughters. Welcome, Senators Chang. Unmute.
There we go. I was hitting unmute at the same time that I was being asked to unmute. Anyways, hi everyone. Thanks so much, Anu, and it's really an honor to be with Congresswoman Meng, who is an incredible role model for me and so many others, as well as the Shibutani twins. It's really our siblings. So wonderful to be on with you all. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's spending time on this virtual event today. And we hope that you'll be spending some time making phone calls. If this is your first time ever doing that, just know that it actually makes a huge difference. This is one of those elections where you really cannot leave any stone unturned, and calling people, doing those lit drops, just reaching out to your own personal networks, all of that makes a big, big difference. You've heard from all of the speakers already about just what's at stake with this election. I am a daughter of immigrants. I'm a mom of 2 young daughters, and even my 5-year-old knows how important this election is. And the thing that she knows most about this election is that the person we're trying to get out of the White House is someone who is separated little kids younger than her from their parents, and that is something that breaks her heart. And also, just thinking so much about, the thing, she's in virtual kindergarten, which is exciting and challenging all at the same time. But so many times I just think about, last week was anti-bullying week. They're learning in kindergarten about basic decency and about bullying and about how to be a good person. Yet the current occupant of the White House doesn't demonstrate any of those things that we're teaching our 5-year-olds. So it's so clear to me that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are absolutely the right leaders for our country. They are both folks who are really going to turn this around. And I think that the Asian American community in particular knows so many different angles of what this pandemic has meant for our families, whether it is the hate that has been targeting Asian American communities, especially East Asian communities, through scapegoating. And it doesn't help when our president uses the term Kung flu and China virus and all of those things. And so thank you, Congresswoman Meng, for your really important resolution in recent times related to that. But we've also seen Asian American healthcare professionals, just saving lives, yet also being the ones who are, also falling prey to this terrible virus. We've seen Asian American small business owners who have seen the economic impact on themselves and their family members. And just the list goes on. We've also seen incredible generosity from our Asian American community in donating masks, in volunteering time, in volunteering money, and just doing so much to uplift our communities. And so all of that gives me so much hope. And I think that we've got to keep that same spirit, that same energy of giving back into November 3rd. I want to echo Representative Koopa for reminding everyone to check your voter registration status and also to vote, because with Proposal 3, everyone can actually do absentee voting now. It is actually really important that people are getting their ballots and filling them out and returning them as quickly as possible, whether it's getting that into the drop box that's closest to you or mailing it, hopefully, in the coming days. So just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, especially to all the volunteers who are making time tonight to make those phone calls. As someone who's run a couple campaigns as a candidate, those calls really matter. And so the work that you're going to be doing to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is so appreciated. So thank you again. Let's go win.
Thank you, Senator Chang, for this inspiring message and a call to action. I will now introduce Jessica Singh, who is the Regional Field Director for the Michigan Democratic Party. She previously served as a field organizer for Beto O'Rourke's presidential campaign. She's a graduate of Oakland University. Welcome, Jessica, and take us all away to the next steps.
Thank you so much. I just want to first and foremost say it is such an honor to be here with all of you guys. And so I really wanted to just take us to a space where we think about who are we fighting for today? Who and what made us jump into this Zoom to be all here together. It is something that I ask my team every single day when we check in with each other, because days are going to get really tough and days are going to get really tired, but we need to keep in mind the people that we're fighting for every single day and have that push us forward to these next 21 days. Something that I keep close to me is before my grandfather passed away, he always told me these 3 things. And we would always talk about it when we were in phone calls together, when we had the privilege to be together. He would tell me to work hard, to learn hard, and to be honest. And he always told me to work hard for those who could not and to create opportunity when I did not see it present. In a time like this, I think those 3 factors are really prevalent and really ring true to how we should hold ourselves every single day. We need leadership who will work hard for our communities, learn hard from those around them, and to be consistently honest, and not only honest through words, but through actions. And so as I was, combing and thinking about today and how I wanted to present this, I was looking through Biden's AAPI agenda, and something that really stuck out to me and rang true for me was securing our values as a nation of immigrants. You know, like the nation built upon the backs of folks who were here before us. And something else that stuck out with me was that Biden's plan to that within 100 days of being in office, that he would immediately reverse Trump's policy to separate that separates parents from their children at the border. And that's something that's really important to me, and that's something I keep in the back of my head every single day as we, you know, trudge through this fight as days get really hard. And we need this type of leadership in the office, and we need to do everything in our power in order to get them there. Meeting people where they're at, bringing them into the conversation, and broadening the space to include our own community in these conversations. We have 21 days left, 21 days from today, 3 weeks, and there's so much to do before Election Day. It's been plugged in earlier before, but going to iwillvote.com or calling the hotline at 1-833-MI-VOTES to learn everything that you need to know to voting in Michigan, registering to vote, you know, requesting an absentee ballot, or finding a convenient nearby place to vote. You could also text AAPI to 30330 or go to joebiden.com/AAPI to get connected to volunteer opportunities around you, having some virtual, having some in person, whatever you are comfortable with. And it was mentioned before about the margin to which we lost Michigan by. I'm sure it has been ingrained in all of our heads, but it is 10,704 votes. It is simply cut out to 2 votes per precinct. So encouraging your friends and your families to get involved in the final sprint towards Election Day is so crucial. 2 votes per precinct, you know, picking up the phone and joining in on a phone bank to talk to 2 voters and reminding them of all the ways that they can vote. You know, reaching out to those people close to you, your family members, who it may be harder to have that conversation, but so much more important to have that conversation with the folks closest to you, and getting them to vote as well, and making a plan with them. And I mentioned phone banking. We also have canvassing as well. I believe Tiffany is dropping all that information in the chat, so you can find out some more information on how, you know, One Campaign for Michigan is canvassing in person and doing it safely for the community and for those canvassers. And then I also wanted to loop everyone in. Tiffany's going to drop the link into the chat for another Zoom, to which we're gonna start with phone banking right after this call. The stakes are too high, and we have to leave everything out in the field. And I think it was mentioned earlier that we want to wake up on November 4th knowing that we did every single thing possible in order to flip Michigan blue and get Joe Biden into the high seat in power. And, you know, it could be the smallest things of, you know, committing an hour of your time now until Election Day to make those phone calls to reach those 2 voters per precinct and to close that 10,704 margin. So Tiffany is going to drop that Zoom link into the chat. I will see you guys over there, and we can start phone banking together.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more.